Hey, welcome to the Create Unknown, the home of Make Something Mean Something. We have a nice Patreon crowd here. If you want to join our Patreon, go to patreon.com/the Create Unknown. It is how we make this podcast. So thank you to all of our patrons. I am Kevin Lieber, and with me as always is Matthew Tabor.
Yeah, it's mixed energy today, isn't it? So we talked for a while before we hit the record button. And it was so up and down. We waffled between like deep cynicism and depression and like happy-go-lucky energy. And I don't know how that's going to apply to today. It actually is a little unsettling because we always know where our headspace is going into a recording, you know? And it's like, we're going to be, this is a serious topic. We think deeply about this, or no, let's have fun with that. And we just had 10, 15 minutes of like, all over the map, completely schizophrenic moods. So whatever happens in the next hour happens.
We're going to ride that wave, and it's a wave that I'm pretty comfortable riding. So like, I'm not scared. I'm not scared of this at all. I'm totally comfortable, sort of teleporting between either ends of the bell curve, if that makes sense. That's where I like to be, actually. Middle of the bell curve. No. Avoid at all costs. Never ride that way.
That's good policy.
Yeah.
That's good policy. Yeah. You should be on one end or the other.
Just ride the tails, baby. That's where I'm at. Just ride the tails. All right. We're going to, I think ride, we're definitely going to ride one of the tails at the beginning of this podcast because something occurred recently in the creatosphere, in the creator space. Something popped.
Creatosphere.
I purposely said that because I knew you wouldn't like it, or you should. No one should. It was like a horrible term that I just made up.
It'll be in the names of 7 to 9 VidCon panels next year.
Right.
We'll see creatosphere.
Yeah, updates on the creatosphere. Man, that was one thing I thought of the other day. Is like I didn't hear a single thing about VidCon. It's amazing what a bubble that is when you're no longer inside of it. It might as well not exist. That was a pretty odd feeling.
Yeah, there wasn't much at all. I mean, a little bit of the social stuff, especially people on the West Coast where it was an easy trip for them, so I saw some tweets there, but nothing at all about the actual VidCon. Not one thing. Even the emails that I got about it, the things that VidCon sends out, which there's a lot of that ramping up to the event and then through it. It was just sort of like big collages of pictures. It's like, this person's going to be there. And that was it. So I have no idea what, if anything, useful happened on the industry side. It didn't even happen. Like, honestly, nothing of substance seems to have happened there. And that's, no changes from any of the platforms where, there's no marquee announcement like YouTube used to do. They always announce something, even if it was, plans they weren't ever going to get to. There was still some, at least token announcement. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. So I'd completely forgotten about it too, until I saw it in the trending tab on the day of VidCon starting. It was just off the radar.
Yeah, it was like if a VidCon happens in the Anaheim and no one's around to document it, does it make a sound sort of thing. That's how I thought of it. But that's not at all what we wanted to talk about. That's a total aside that I just thought of the other day. What I wanted to talk about, which just happened recently and is all over the place, is this absolutely bizarre TikTok thing that I don't know too much about. I don't know that I want to know too much about, but I'm going to do my best to describe it for those who are unfamiliar with it completely. And for those who are familiar with it, maybe some people in the episode chat can fill us in more on the details. But first...
Okay, right now, I have to tell you, you have to describe it for me too. Because when you lead as this TikTok thing, I think I know what you're talking about, but I know that for sure all I know is like 3 tweets.
Okay. All right. So the topic of discussion overall that this new thing sort of inspired is that can content get any dumber than this? That is what I thought of when I saw this. That was my first reaction. I was like, is this scraping beneath the deepest like diamond blade crusted scrapings of the barrel that we can possibly get to in humankind or not? That's the topic of the day. Here's what the content is from what I've observed. So let's start with the fact that there's this girl dressed as an elf. So there's this younger girl with pointy ears. She looks like an elf. She's wearing lots of makeup and, she's dressed up as this elf character. She looks a little like Belle Delphine, but has Legolas ears. Sure.
Is that
sure? Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Okay. That's a fair.
All right. I know who you mean.
Fair characterization. So we have Legolas Delphine on TikTok, staring at her camera, looking at you, the viewer. The screen is just an avalanche of icons and pop-ups, and like there's all kinds of stuff going on screen. Okay. And Legolas Delphine appears to be directly reacting to whatever icons show up on screen. So it'll be an ice cream cone, and she'll say, "Yum, yum, ice cream." And she'll pretend to eat it.
Yes, that's what I saw.
She'll go like, I don't know. I can't make the sound. Yum, yum. Try to eat the...
You're right. Yeah. The chomp sounds.
A chomp sound. Yeah. Which apparently I guess I can't do the chomp sound. But she does an absolutely phenomenal chomp sound and is reacting to these icons. There are other icons. There's a hot pepper. And when the hot pepper comes on, it like changes, it deepens her voice for some reason. So she goes like, "Oh, that was spicy." There's corn. Yum, yum, crunchy corn. There's a galaxy. I don't know what the galaxy does, but this is it. People are sending these icons to her for her to react to them in ways that are really kind of creepy. They're creepy to me, and I think they're creepy to most people who have seen it.
So in the episode chat, Ducky says, "Gang, gang, 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 strong woman, donuts so good." This is the progression of what you're talking about, where whatever little emote or something like that pops up, they have to do this instantaneous reaction to it. And is the thing just like one giant session of this?
I suppose so. I mean, from all appearances, it looks like this is the stream. It's that, like this girl is live streaming on TikTok, and all she does is react to emojis, basically, that I believe her fans are sending her. And whether or not they are paying to send those emojis, I don't know. It is my guess that maybe they are. That maybe for like, I'm making this up. Okay, I don't know the answer to this, but my inference was that maybe they're paying like 50 cents or $1, to send Legolas Delphine an ice cream emoji so that she'll go, ice cream, yum, yum, ice cream, yum, yum.
But why would you do that when like everybody else is doing it? Like it's not a unique reaction to the thing you've done. I don't get any side of this. And I also don't get how you'd watch it for more than 60 seconds. I mean, it seems, I could see it being entertaining for a little bit, like it's super weird and high energy and active and all that. But would you sit and watch it for half an hour?
I mean, don't ask me. No, absolutely not. I just 60 seconds of it. My head was spinning. I was like, this is the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen. That like I said, that was my gut reaction. I was like, wow, I don't know if content can get stupider than this. And when, the episode chat, by the way, is saying, yes, it is paid. Emojis on TikTok are paid. So, to send emotes, it costs TikTok's credit system, which costs money. So there you go. So for our listeners who aren't familiar with this, yes, people are paying her to react to these emojis. And the reactions are always the same. It's always like, yum, yum, hot dog. Ooh, over and over and over again.
That's what I saw on Twitter. These clips of that instant response. And it was just the same thing. There wasn't any dialogue. There wasn't anything. It was just like push a button, make a sound.
Yeah. So I was thinking about it a lot this morning. Once we decided that this was, something we were going to talk about on the podcast, the gears started turning, and I have a bunch of stuff to say about this that I want your take on. Okay. So the first thing is actually something that you said. So my initial reaction, like I said, was this is the dumbest thing that I've ever seen. And I don't know if content can get dumber than this. The question that arises based upon that reaction is, well, what do you mean dumb? Why is it so dumb? What does that mean? Like, what about it is so dumb? And I think that something you said answers that question. What you said to me this morning was that it was like content for infants.
That's what it seems to me. Yeah, it's like multiple things a second, visually, audibly stimulating in the way that a baby would find engaging. It doesn't have to make sense to entertain and engage a toddler. It can just be a little performance of a thing. And that's what it seems like to me, where it's like pushing a button on a toy and, the duck quacks and the pig oinks.
Cow goes moo. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. It's like a slightly, well, I mean, I guess I respect like the real-time live aspect of it. I mean, it's got to be hard to do that. At the clip that I saw on Twitter, at the rate that they were going, it's got to be hard to keep up. I mean, I don't think everybody would be able to do this. It would certainly take practice. But it's that question of who's watching this and why are they watching this?
No. Her energy level is insane. I totally agree. Yeah. I was like this is a bonkers off the chart amount of energy that this Legolas Delphine is exuding.
Yes.
Nonstop. It is like a serious hamster wheel of just sprinting. It is a sprint of a stream. Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, you and I would not be able to do that without a shocking amount of practice.
I would be exhausted by it. Like literally after, I think, maybe 5 minutes, I would be done. And I don't know how long she streams for this for, so maybe she only goes for half an hour. But if it's longer than that, it is absolutely nuts.
Wifflebutter has a good point here about probably having a constant revolving door of viewers. And I bet that's an answer to one of my questions, is that people probably aren't watching it for 20, 30 minutes. They're watching it for 60 seconds. And it's just a huge influx and exodus that's replacing itself. But it's not an audience that is glued to the screen for an hour.
No, it is sensory overload. And I think that's sort of what plays into the infantile element to it. So that is to say that, yes, when my first thought was this was the dumbest thing I've ever seen, what that actually meant was it's the most infantile thing that I've ever seen when it comes to content. It is the most infantile.
I agree with that. Yeah. I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything designed not for children that is more infantile. So if you think about episodes of Teletubbies from back in the day or something, you've got these 4 colorful characters goofing around and making their own sounds and whatever. And it's not like they were having conversations. They were just being weird, fat little goofballs in a way that made great sounds for tiny kids and was visually engaging. And that's amazing when you're 3. I cannot recall anything that is not made to be very young children's programming that has the same feel of these things. I can't even come up with anything close. Even, and this is such a horrible direction to take this in, but I'm going to do it. When you're scrolling through your Twitter feed, and this also is when you follow the sorts of people who we follow. You do follow along with scholars like Justin Wang and Crypt Daddy. You get the odd picture and tweet that is just kind of harrowing. And so when you get the like the adult baby diaper wearing community tweets where it's like a 37-year-old man who like cosplays as an infant and is wearing a diaper on there, like, and shaking a rattle. Even that does not have like an immature infantile feel to it. When they're actually playing a baby, that doesn't feel as juvenile as this does. Now, I know that's not a one-to-one because they're obviously not appealing to like a 2-year-old.
Yeah,
like
no.
Actually, I bet a fair bit of those people are trying to appeal to 2-year-olds, but that's a different. That's for a different.
My
podcast.
read on that is always an adult situation. Yeah, it's not.
It is
for
an
babies.
Adult situation.
Yeah,
but still, it's like explicitly representing a juvenile thing.
Yeah,
and it's like the point of it is to represent a juvenile thing, and it still comes off as less juvenile as this. This is really strange. It's really weird. And maybe the appeal is 30 seconds of seeing what you just talked about, really. This insanely high energy and somebody rolling with the punches at warp speed. And God, this is incredibly strange, and leaving it at that. Maybe that's good enough, but do you do that? How many hours a week do you do that? And is this your long-term plan for 5 years? Are people going to be looking at these down the line, or is this a flash thing?
I don't know if it's a flash thing. This could be a thing that sticks around because the sort of the information sensory overload of it is like peak. It's like pinnacle. It's like, how does it get more cracked out? How does content get more infantile and cracked out than this? Because the other thing that we haven't mentioned about it is, we mentioned it's really, really high energy. It's also obviously very colorful because you're seeing all these different emojis on the burst onto the screen over and over and over again very quickly. The other thing is it's super repetitive. And is that not also a function or a feature of like baby content, that you would repeat something over and over and over again, just like that wheel with the drawstring that you pull so that the cow says moo.
Is that what that's called? Is that a see and say, or was that with letters? Was the see and say with letters?
I don't remember what the see and say is.
I never had one.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
No, this is right. Yeah. Original farmer says see and say, preschool toddler. Right. Okay. No, it's see and say. I never had that. I didn't watch PBS. I didn't watch any kids shows. The one thing I watched was Romper Room, and now that's dead to me because you remember years ago I reached out to the woman who was like the main character on it, and she ghosted me on Twitter, and so even the one thing I did watch is dead to me.
Oh, that's so sad. You were 40 years old by the time you were out of diapers.
I was only 35 at the time, so it wasn't
fair enough.
Nearly as bad.
Yeah.
I don't know what you've been sipping, but you've got it all wrong. It's time to commit to the Leaf. We've embraced the smoothness and surprising pick-me-up that tea provides. I literally drink it all day long, nearly a gallon a day, and it powers me through research, script writing, and forums on websites that I refuse to name here. But we don't drink normie NPC tea. We drink cultured and refined anime tea from the Dragon's Treasure. Kevin still likes the gunpowder green called Space Cowboy, and I've sampled nearly 40 Dragon's Treasure teas at this point. Lately I've been slamming black teas like Kentucky Bourbon and Liquefied Berserk Despair. Scottish Breakfast is deep and peaty, and I smooth it over with Sebastian's Morning Earl Grey, which has the best vanilla cream taste I think I've ever had in a cup. Give me a pot of that with a hot meatball sub from Sal's Pizza and Brooks Barbecue Chicken to wash down my last meal on death row. I highly recommend the sampler packs. You'll want to try everything just like I did. I literally have not had one tea that I wouldn't be happy to reorder. The Dragon's Wings membership fuels new tea experimentation, and the Tea of the Month Club provides a regularly scheduled surprise. And when you order from the Dragon's Treasure using code CREATE, you'll get 10% off your order. That's 10% off using the code CREATE at thedragonstreasure.com. The link's in the description.
So one of the other things that I thought of before we started recording about this, which is another reason why I think this is not going away, is that, and it's really an example of like extremes. And I think that that's a lot of what you see. That's what makes Mr. Beast, right? Is extremes. Like he will come up with the most extreme thing that you can imagine, and 100 million people will watch it, whether it'll be $1 boat versus $1 billion yacht, right? The point of that is extremes. So that's what gets a lot of attention from human beings in general. So this baby TikTok yum thing is an example to me of an extreme version of content. It is like the most infantile thing we have thought of as a species so far when it comes to
for adults
online content. The other part of it that I thought of was interesting, and I don't know if this is just a weird connection I made, so I wonder what your thoughts are on it, is that the other part of this is it's kind of like playing a mobile game with a real person. It's like Fruit Ninja or Candy Crush, except it's an actual human being in real time on the other end.
Oh, that's really good. No, you're totally right about that. It is a swipe and react thing, but you are the puppet master of somebody who, is just like they're doing your bidding. That's
right.
That's weird. That's exactly what it is. Like a fast-paced, real-time mobile game where it just happens to be another human.
You're playing a person. You are playing. So for us, older folk in the 1980s. Okay, we're going back now, folks. In the 1980s, there was a little film called The Toy, starring one of the greatest comedians who ever lived, Richard Pryor. Now, the plot of The Toy.
We had him on the show, by the way.
Richard Pryor?
We had him on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, for about 8 seconds when Lou Perez did the best Richard Pryor impression in human history.
Yeah, so The Toy is a largely forgotten about little jewel of a comedy film from the 80s. Forgotten about, I think, for a lot of reasons. Mainly because of the plot. And the plot is that there's this little boy who is richer than you can possibly imagine. And he has every toy you can get and every toy you even can't get. He has everything. This is the boy who is spoiled beyond everyone on planet Earth. He's bored with all of his toys. So finally, his new toy is Richard Pryor. It's a human being. Yep. That's the basis of the movie, is that the toy is a human.
Yeah.
And that's where we are with this TikTok thing. We have manifested the toy finally in 2023, in which a human being is your toy.
It's such a difficult thing for me to comprehend, because as you're describing this, it's kind of loathsome to me to think of being at like the instantaneous will of anybody else. Now, I understand there are a lot of performance things where that is part of it. And really, even if you're just playing music, you adjust your performance based on the crowd. You know, a stand-up comedian is adjusting his performance based on the crowd. Like, this is a part of performance. So I get that part. But I look at it and say, somebody is feeding me actions like that. Like, that's an uncomfortable prospect for me. I look at that as you're describing it, and I'm thinking, I thought we got rid of that sort of thing in 1863. Now, obviously, the people turning this on and putting on the Legolas ears, they're doing this 100% willingly. They want to. There's no coercion happening.
They're being paid.
And they're being paid. They subject themselves to this. It's not a lot different than what you can do on Twitch. You can redeem your bits or channel points or whatever to make a streamer do a certain thing. But, that they define. You put in 500 points and they'll do X, Y, or Z, whatever. This is that on like caffeine measured by the gram plus steroids. There's no coercion. At the same time, I don't want that. I don't want somebody else feeding me tasks and lines and all that. And I really don't want to see somebody else do it. Although it is weirdly engaging. I mean, when I saw the clips, like the ice cream thing, I was impressed by the person's ability to do this. I didn't know what the hell was happening or why anybody was paying money to feed them these tasks. But yeah, I was like, okay, it's sort of like watching somebody. If you knew anybody who was insanely good at Tetris, there's this kid, Kurt, in college who could go up like in the 20s on levels in Tetris. He just had a shocking ability to deal with like the pieces flashing at that level. You didn't even see the move on the screen and he could react. Like, that was really impressive to watch him. And this is similar where it's like, wow, somebody can actually process this and they're burning, 2,000 calories an hour doing it. Like, it's exhausting. I was impressed by that, but I really don't want to be involved on either end of the equation. I don't want to have people pull those puppet strings, and I don't want to, be the one pulling. It's just uncomfortable to me. It seems like a weird waste of everyone's time. But I mean, I guess if you're entertained for a few minutes, what's the harm?
I don't know. I think we'll find out if there is any harm to it, because it's possible I could see, people getting addicted to this potentially. And all of a sudden this is like this weird thing where kids are maxing out their parents' credit cards because they spent it all on ice creams for the elf girl. Like, I mean, that has already been a thing for a long time with like microtransactions and these apps and stuff like that. That has been a problem for a while, is people blowing thousands and thousands, like bankrupting themselves. Again, willingly. It's not coerced. Like you said, if you want to bankrupt yourself and have to sell your mattress so that you can buy ice creams for Bell Legolas, or what would it, Legolas Delphine. I mean, that's your thing, good luck to you. But it's definitely, it hits this baby brain thing for sure in people that is obviously compelling.
So I'm gonna support this now for kind of my own curiosity, but is that the draw here, where you can watch this, be 100% consumed, not think about anything at all? Is that just valid entertainment? You don't have a choice but to tune out of the world as you're watching this, because it moves so fast and it's so visually engaging. And with the audio, it is on screen with the things scrolling on screen and the emojis piling up and whatever, plus the person's performance of reacting to them, and all the sounds associated with it. You cannot have that on in the background. You can't do anything else with your eyes and mind when this is on. It is 100% consuming. And there aren't very many things that are. Almost everything else that you could load up on your phone or computer, you get to decide kind of the percentage of focus you give to it. And it can be 100% and it can be 10%. It can be music in the background or something. Is that why people like this? Because it just absorbs them completely and totally, even for the few minutes that they're watching.
Yeah, and I will raise the stakes here a little bit, because this was something that I did want to get into a little bit, because when you think about it on a historical scale, right, basically every generation has always thought like the latest thing is dumber than the thing that came before it. Whether it was like movies were dumber than theater, or theater was dumber than opera, and then TV was dumber than movies, and comic books were dumber than books. You see what I'm getting at, right? There was like always. Yeah. So here's me. And yeah, going forward to like YouTube is dumber than TV, whatever.
Sure.
So the question is what is that evolution getting to? Is that evolution getting to like the purest form of mindless entertainment? Like, is that what we're getting to eventually? That whether you would call it an evolution or a de-evolution, I mean, I think that's fair as well to call it like a denigration over time, chipping away at thoughtful entertainment to thoughtless entertainment. Is this the purest form? Have we reached like the blue crystal Breaking Bad meth of thoughtless entertainment with this?
I think so. I don't see how you could get a lower common denominator with this or than this, because again, I think of it in that baby entertainment. We have known for a very, very long time how to entertain babies. This is why the spinning mobile over a crib has been a thing for however many generations. It's got to be energetic or soothing. There has to be some energy that grabs you.
That's a better analogy. I think the mobile over the crib is better than the cow says moo thing.
Yeah, because it's happening and you're a passive receiver of it.
And it's repetitive.
And you're just watching it. It's repetitive. Yep. And you're getting the sight and the sound. Yeah. Jeez. Oh, God.
And you're just being mindlessly distracted by it.
It's mesmerized.
And soothed. Isn't it? And soothed. That's the point of it for a baby, is to soothe them, right? So they stop crying.
Yep.
We want to help you make something and mean something. And we say that phrase all the time because when you're making something and you know it means something, even if it's just to you, that's when you feel pretty good about what you're creating. The support for the Create Unknown in recent weeks has been incredible. Animators, artists, musicians, YouTubers, aspiring filmmakers, comedians, it is crazy how talented everybody in this community is. Consider joining the Create Unknown Patreon. Every dollar that comes through goes straight into the podcast and its community. That means more highlights videos. It means a big Minecraft project that's on the way. And eventually we'd like to manufacture custom piss bottles so you never have to leave your battle station. And being a patron unlocks participation in all of our live recordings. You've seen the roster of guests we've had. Having access to their minds is a unique opportunity. You can go to patreon.com/thecreateunknown or click the link that's in the description. Every little bit helps and your support means absolutely everything to us. Patreon.com/thecreateunknown, links in the description. We appreciate you, Space Cowboys.
Yep, and just like the original OG of mesmerizing, mesmer, which is where the term actually comes from. It is a huckstery performance meant to grab onto you, engage you, and entertain you. And that's okay. But is there a simpler way than this? I don't think so. I mean, it's really just a question of the technology at this point, right? So, like, is there a way to have a slightly more interactive way of doing it? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that down the line, the electrodes in your head will automatically transmit you wanting somebody to chomp ice cream. Okay, that's just a logistical detail. That's not actual substance. By the way, Charles Kahn says hot dogs so good. Today is National Hot Dog Day. Did you know that, Kevin?
Every day is National Hot Dog Day in my world.
July 19th.
No, I didn't know that.
National Hot Dog Day. Yes, it is. So yeah, it's got all the basics. I don't think it can get more basic. There's nothing tactile, and that is a baby element, tickling a baby. Like that is a seminal bit of interactivity for a baby is some element of touch. And there's none of that in this. I'm sure the OnlyFans crowd is desperate to come up with a way to do interactive touching. That'll be the future there. But for this kind of content, I guess you're missing that. Yeah. That's it. And that's even like a sophisticated level. The sight and sound is passive receipt of sight and sound is more basic than any kind of touch. So they've nailed nailed
Peekaboo is what
the
I
most
what I
basic
thought of.
peekaboo.
Peekaboo.
Yeah.
You don't
that's
touch.
good.
There's no tactile element of peekaboo, but it is. Is peekaboo not like the first game that a baby plays, right?
Yeah, it is. Well, even that's a sophisticated thing because you know that I forget the actual name for it, but the child's conception of how they interact with the world, right? So like if they close their eyes, they think the world disappears.
Theory of mind.
And at a certain point, yeah, is that what it is?
I think so.
I don't think about any of this. Yeah, I'm laughing because Charles Kahn is mimicking this stuff in the episode chat. So good, passive receptive, sight and sound, based, red pilled, so good, nailed peekaboo.
Object permanence is part of peekaboo.
Object permanence.
That's probably what you were thinking of.
Boss threads and wiffle butter both. Hey, they have identical timestamps, so they cross the finish line together. See you later, Space Cowboys. So good. Yeah. It's really strange to be analytical about this one, but I think it's actually worth breaking down. It's one of those things where it's like, this is too stupid to break down. No. This is precisely the thing you really separate into its elements to see what's going on here.
That's exactly what I wanted to do because it's so weird. It's so unlike anything else I had seen before. I mean, I think that the closest thing I can think of that I also found weird when I first came across it was mukbang content, in which lots of people would just watch someone else eat like a grotesque amount of food. Like that was pretty weird when you first saw it.
I don't know. To me, that was like the dumpster version of the Food Network. I mean, what's the difference between watching, what was his name? Adam.
This is the dumpster version of online content, though. What's the difference? That's what I'm saying. It's like the natural bottom.
But I mean, I saw the appeal on the food stuff. Like I can understand wanting to watch somebody eat a freakish amount of food. I mean, if we want to go a deep cut, let's do a 60-year-old deep cut, give or take. In the Paul Newman movie, Cool Hand Luke, he has to eat 50 hard-boiled eggs in an hour. Okay. That's the original mukbang, by the way. Is that scene in Cool Hand Luke?
No, it's the original Nathan's hot dog eating contest. That's what it is. It's the original Joey Chestnut.
It's super weird. And you see his stomach look 8 months pregnant by the end and he's struggling. And it's like, all right, this is somebody doing a freakish circus act thing. That's interesting. Watching Nikocado Avocado eat 713 McNuggets has an appeal to it. Like, that's weird. That's crazy. Watching Review Bra like that's really good content, is having him like very attentively.
That's different.
Taste.
Review Bra is not mukbang.
No, it's not mukbang, but I mean, it's a dude eating a Whopper.
Yeah.
Like, so I just get the appeal on that. And on this one, the only appeal I can come up with is that you are so overloaded watching it that it blocks out every other thought or sensation you could be having. So like, congratulations, you've just like experienced fentanyl.
You nuked your consciousness. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
You just blast away your consciousness as this elf girl eats ice cream emojis. The other thing I thought of is as it relates to this incredible, like, hyper ADD content, is that meme where someone is watching like 4 episodes of Family Guy at the same time.
Right.
This is the content version, the original content streamer version of watching 4 episodes of Family Guy at once.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it can go from here. This. Like, I'm glad that you mentioned the fact that it is possible because it's just pretending to eat little tiny emojis. It does seem as though down the road there will be some sort of more impactful way to sort of make the person do what you want physically.
Yes.
I don't know what that means, but smearing ice cream on their eyeballs and, like doing things for real.
Yes.
That's coming.
Anybody could do a live stream right now with this. And it used to be back in the old days on Twitch, people would do donation streams where, like, we used to watch Corn Shack occasionally. This is, he was a smallish streamer who did like old obscure NES games, stuff like that, did speed runs and all that. But back then, you could have donation at a certain level and he would take a shot. Well, you and a couple friends in the chat could spend $80 forcing somebody to drink 16 shots of tequila
to go to the hospital to get their stomach pumped.
That's right. Well, hey, look at what Aggie did. This was an Aggie thing back in the day. And there was that stream where he made like $5,000 and bit his phone in half. Because he was, literally passed out on the stream. That was doing in real life this, I am going to pull your puppet strings for everybody's entertainment, and you're going to get something for it. And we are definitely going to get something in return. This isn't conceptually all that different, and the question is, I don't know, could you actually make this real? So Charles Kahn popped a thing in here of a photo with like 200 McNuggets in this big tray. Could you have a huge array like that, and instead of fake chomping, somebody donates a thing and you have to eat a McNugget? Like, how far do you go with this?
I'm going to actually undermine what we just said, and I'm going to play devil's advocate to ourselves here.
Okay.
And suggest that this like fake emoji version actually is the final result of paying streamers to do stuff like eat chicken nuggets and take shots, because that will never be nearly as like frantic and mesmerizing and repetitive as this emoji stuff, because it's instantaneous and it doesn't require you to, shove Slim Jims up your nose or, slurp a gigantic ice cream cone in real life, which takes time. And like you can't just go yum, yum, ice cream and then move on and go, oh, wow, that was spicy. And then go, oh, hot dog, yum, yum. Like that actually is the final boss. I think this is the final boss.
Yeah, I want to see that. I mean, that would be so good to get somebody to their breaking point on the nuggets, on the ice cream. What's the name of that? The instrument. So there's a video of a guy playing it, and he's old and bespectacled, and it's like a piano kind of thing, but it has a dozen bells and whistles and horns, and it's like the cartoony thing. Where it's this rapid fire pulling the string. You know this?
Yeah, I know exactly the video you're talking about. I don't know what it's called because it probably has some ridiculous name, like the goggle phone or something.
There's a Wikipedia entry for it because I know I read it at one point. But imagine that, but just with a food spread in front of you, where you're basically living that out every time somebody pops a thing in. You'd have to crank up the donations. So you can't be popping a McNugget for 10 cents. You are going to hit the puke point with this, and it needs to be worth your photo player. That's right. It's photo player. It would be good content. I would watch. I would want to see somebody go until they blow. And make it a raffle. Make it so the person who
a raffle?
Who's responsible.
So you can win a tractor at the end? What kind of raffle is it?
Raffle is the wrong word here. But so think about this. You have this big spread of food. You are rapidly throwing it in your gullet at the direction of the audience. At some point, you are going to throw up.
Yes.
If the person who's responsible for the action that makes you vomit, that 193rd chicken nugget, that person needs to get something fantastic. Maybe it's 50% of the proceeds. This is such a good gambling content idea where
it's the
you would
quarter
have
game.
an incentive.
It's the quarter game where you put the quarters in the machine with all the other quarters, and there's a little bar pushing the quarters, and eventually you want to be the person who puts the quarter in that knocks all the quarters off, and then you win all the quarters. That's
right. That's right.
with
the
vomit.
incentive here. Mm-hmm.
The vomit is
yes. You keep pushing and pushing.
The quarters are vomit.
Yes. This is good content. This is great content. I'm done with gang ice cream so good horse shit.
Charles Kahn says quarters so good, yum yum. Quarters so good.
Content so good.
Content so
good makes something mean something.
Yum yum. Vomit so good. Yum yum. Oh.
But are you telling me that you wouldn't throw $1 at that when somebody is clearly almost at their limit? Don't you want to take a stab at being the one to push them over the edge to win the prize? Oh my God. Yeah, that would be so intriguing to watch and participate in.
Yeah, we would need to make sure. I mean, first of all, we should just develop this and retire, because this is such a good idea that if we can, skim 2% off of all these donations, we're millionaires.
Yep.
But, because immediately I thought, there's like a leaderboard, you get promoted in front of everybody as being the person who purchased the vomit nugget, the nugget that caused, the first puke. There could be levels of puke too. Maybe it's just a little one at first to kind of clear some room. And, eventually there's like a big one where it's over and the person can't eat anymore. I don't know. They've never really shown you what happens, an hour after the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, when Joey Chestnut is, I'm assuming, just projectile vomiting 75 hot dogs into a tub. I don't know what happens there.
I don't think
he's
so.
He's not just digesting those, is he?
I think that competitive eaters have just such insanely stretched stomachs. I don't know how their digestive system processes that, because I don't think you can really will your small intestine to be like 4 times the capacity over time. Maybe, I don't know, but your stomach certainly can stretch like that. I don't think they tend to throw up. But wow, I mean, I shouldn't be thinking so seriously about this, but the incentive early on in this would be very low, because you're obviously not going to win on the 4th McNugget. So you would have to scale up the cost of it as the thing went on.
Right.
Because yes, 10 cents for, the first nugget, whatever, you're getting the entertainment of that. But, eventually it's $1, it's $2, it's $5, it's $10 a nugget as you reach that breaking point. You would have to increase the value to correspond with that risk. Why this is sophisticated and excellent.
I know. I'm glad that you're treating it with the seriousness that it deserves, because like I said, this is peak content. This is the final de-evolution. It reminded me, years ago, Mike Judge made this movie Idiocracy that was a total bomb. Like, no one watched this movie. It really, if you haven't seen it, I swear it's unfinished. I don't actually know the lore of Idiocracy, but the final act of it is horrible. It seems like they had $7 left and they were like, all right, we just kind of have to finish this now. They just are in a courtroom for the last 25 minutes or something like that. It's been a while since I saw it, but that was my lasting impression of it, was holy crap. This movie has so many interesting ideas about sort of the stupidity of, I guess, Western civilization over time, the dumbification, I guess you would call it, of Western civilization over time, or just maybe the United States particularly. Anyway, the point is that this gets brought up now, I think similarly in a way that something like 1984 gets brought up as just a thing to point at, regardless of whether or not you've read that book. It's just a thing to point at, to say, this is like that thing. Idiocracy is that. It's the thing to point at when something is like obviously stupid. And this is one of those things where it's like, and I even saw some tweets when this first started going viral that it was not like Idiocracy, but that it was like a parody in one of those Paul Van Oyfen or Point Venhofer, the guy who made the RoboCop movies. I don't know his name. The director who made the director who made RoboCop. He had all these like skits and vignettes. You haven't seen RoboCop, have you? You've never watched RoboCop. We talked about how you've never watched it. Okay, so
I've never watched RoboCop. I've never heard the song "Let It Go" from Frozen. I have this list of things that everybody else in the world
has accidentally heard "Let It Go." Like accidentally?
Never accidentally.
That is nope. That seems impossible. Okay.
Nope. So anyway, RoboCop is on that list.
Okay, you should see RoboCop though, because part of what is so, and everyone should watch RoboCop listening to this if they haven't, because RoboCop is a really unique film. It's not what you think it is. RoboCop is not Predator. It is not Bloodsport. Okay. It is not, First Blood Part 2. It's not Rambo 3. It is this bizarre film that is really violent. Okay, so it's very violent on like the action end of things. But then it has this like scathingly satirical side in which it's like skewering all sorts of like stupid human things, like stupid forms of entertainment, stupid things that humans like. It has this strong comedic element and undertone to it in which like Demolition Man is all that really. No, it's really kind of flipped. So Demolition Man is like mostly satirical comedy that then has like an action sprinkling to like get you through the movie. RoboCop is kind of the opposite. It's like mostly like 80s action movie with this like really weird oddball sprinkling of like goofy fake commercials and skits and like satirizing like capitalistic stupidity.
So in that UHF way where the movie is broken up with
kind of, but but it'll be like interlaced where like a TV is on in the background and you get to see like what they're talking about sort of thing.
I see.
But that's what some people were likening the Legolas Delphine thing to, is like it would be like a skit in RoboCop of just like the most base level form of mindless entertainment, which I think it is. What's below it?
Yes. What's below it? I don't think anything. The point of contention I have is on the newness of it. And I actually severely disagree with the Idiocracy stuff that is, it's on my timeline every single day. Somebody makes some reference to how like, wow, we're really living out Idiocracy now. Oh God.
Yeah, but it's like that with 1984 too. It's just so trite.
But I don't think any of these things are new. That's where I have a problem with it. I don't think anything now is dumber than it was in the past. I don't think people are dumber than they were in the past. I think they were actually much dumber in the past. We may like really dumb things, but we've always liked really dumb things. Some of the like old standard songs, I'm trying to think of a way to describe them that people would know. I would call it old time, which is a genre that is, I don't even know how to describe it. But take the songs in a movie like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, but don't have like a twangy bluegrassy type element. Old time is just really straight, boring music, right? It's the kind of thing that a guy would just like sit on the porch playing the banjo to, right? Some of those songs are just dumb as hell. They're funny, they're goofy, they're stupid. I heard one in December called "There's a Skeeter on My Peter," about a mosquito on one's wiener and the dangers that come in that scenario. That is not high art. That's goofy idiot shit that people found funny 150 years ago, and it's not any dumber or smarter than anything in Idiocracy. So I don't think any of this is new, at all. I think the form it takes is new.
That's what I was going to say. I think it's what makes something Idiocracy is the technology element. It's the blend. Right. It's the blend of sort of the new tech reaching the lowest common denominator in a new way. So you have this like ultimate version of the Skeeter on my Peter song with this girl fake eating ice cream on your phone.
Yes. Yeah. I just see it as a more sophisticated version of the same exact dumb, useless things that have entertained people forever. Are you telling me that somebody getting hit in the balls, it only really truly became funny to the world in the 1980s when it was on America's Funniest Home Videos constantly? No, I think cavemen hit each other in the balls and laughed about it. I think that has been a standard, whacking somebody in the balls.
Just use farts. Farts are well known. Yeah. There's farts in art forever.
Yes. Yeah, you think of, I'm going to butcher this, but what is it? Heigassen, the Japanese painting of the fart battle?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. This is actually remarkable artistically from, let's see, literally fart competitions that, first started, it looks like 800, give or take, and has been was a standard through. But yeah, what's the difference between this scroll in the 9th century and Jeff Daniels turning his colon inside out in Dumb and Dumber? To me, the difference is the camera. that is the only difference to me. So you separate 1,200 years of art, and the difference is one of them moves and runs on a battery, and the other was like painstakingly etched.
Yeah, well, a couple of things that I will push back on. But first thing, I want to make a note of flatulists, because if no one has, if no one has read about flatulists, please just check out the Wikipedia for flatulists, which were professional farters.
A profession.
Yeah.
That's right. Their profession was performing farts. Yeah. It's sort of like a court jester, right? Where like a king might have
or a singer.
Specific.
It's just like
a singer. Yeah. A specific
You're
flatulist.
Singing out of the other end.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. That's.
But
is that not Idiocracy?
Okay. Look, you're totally right about all of this. The difference is like the crazy ADD element of like the sensory overload element is very different. Like looking at a Japanese fart painting or like sitting in a theater where a flatulist is like performing Yankee Doodle Dandy out of his butthole is really passive and kind of slow, and you're just sitting there and you clap at the end, great fart. But being on your smartphone, paying someone to pretend to eat ice cream, who seems to be high on meth, just like the level is ramped up to 1 billion.
It is.
In terms of the interactivity and the speed at which your eyeballs and your ears are being like sensory overloaded. That is super different.
The only remote parallel I can come up with for this is a circus act. You would have to go to a circus to see somebody do something as overwhelming and instant ADD-ish, juggling 19 flaming torches, whatever. You really had to go out of your way to see a human performance freak show. Yeah, juggling was what popped into my head. Charles Kahn put a thing there where it's like, this is a lot happening at once and it's instant. How many people even got to see those shows? What percentage of the population ever got to witness with their own eyes something as nutty as that? Pretty low. And now, like you said, this is on your phone, and you get to participate if you want to.
You're involved.
Yeah, that's definitely an evolution that is absolutely new.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it for me. I think we exhausted this. I would love to see or to read what other people think about it. If they have, I wonder if they're. Oh, the other thing I wanted to. Should I mention this? I'm gonna mention it. But like the farting content with the e-girls.
Oh yeah, sure.
Like that's kind of like an interactive, like very lowbrow. Like that's the most lowbrow you can really kind of like legally be engaged in.
Right.
That's a thing that people have been doing in recent years for sure. That sort of bared mentioning, I think, before we actually wrapped up this sophisticated topic.
And it is worth pointing out, I think, that there's an element to that, the fetish element that is not part at all of the phenomenon we're talking about. Well, by the way, does this have a name?
Is it not at all?
Oh.
Is it not? You don't know that.
No, I don't.
I mean,
I don't. Oh, that's interesting.
There's got to be some portion of people whose brains are rewiring as we speak so that this becomes a fetish.
Is there an actual, I don't know why this is the last thing we're talking about. Is there a name for this type of content that we've been talking about? A specific name like mukbang is for eating? Does anybody know in the episode chat? Does this thing have a name yet? It's got to be called something, right? Everything is called something.
I would think so, but I don't know what it's called.
If there isn't a name now, there will be soon. We have to find the name when we can, because I'm Charles Kahn says I've seen it called NPC content. Wiffle Butter says that too, and Conrad said that a while back too. The NPC e-girl. Is it always women? Are there men who do this too?
There's got to be.
I've only seen clips of women.
It's got to be. I don't understand the NPC designation, but okay.
Me either. I guess an NPC's only role is when you interact with it, right? Like that's part of NPC is that it's there for your role in the story, whether it's doing nothing or
they have no agency.
It can't come. They have no agency. That's right. And that's the actual word I wish I'd thought of before by saying you're beholden to what these people want. That's right. These people seem to have no agency at all, and they crowdsource their agency to TikTok. That's NPC, isn't it?
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Human marionette sort of thing. NPC makes sense though.
Marionette.
Oh, yeah. No, just a big deep sigh, I think is the best thing to end on.
The worst thing is that as soon as we're done recording, I have to sit down with you so we can plan the next Vsauce 2 video that will be this content. It'll be you. It'll be you doing all of these things. You're going to be ganging and ice creaming and just putting food in your mouth until you puke.
This is how I resurrect my TikTok until I get back into TikTok, actually, yum, yum, science. Yum, yum, math.
Oh, God. Oh.
Yum, yum, Pythagoras.
This is the worst idea ever.
Yeah, no, we're going to end on Yum Yum Pythagoras. Thanks to all of our patrons for hanging out. If you want to become one, go to patreon.com/thecreateunknown and join our Discord if you can. If not, we'll be back next week. All you NPCs out there, we'll see you, Space Cowboys.
Thanks for listening to The Create Unknown. We make this show with the support of our patrons. 100% of that goes directly to keeping episodes going every week, and the recent support has been amazing. Sidpoke, NRM, Venture Addicts, Weezergood, you all really do make this show happen. Thank you to the Tots and Dumpster crew, old and new, who save tiny little lives every month. Thank you to our grizzled, battle-hardened child infantry. Clemente de los Santos, Dan the Latch, Demetrius Andrews, Erica, Farrakhan, Jen Mefisanti, Kevin Menard, Mikhail Steinke, Monahim, Natsu, Penny Peddler, Risebread, Ryan Kinder, Samuel Manser, Sean S., Sean Malone, and Tom Vidioger. And a tremendous shout out to our elite baby gang commanders: Atrocious Guff, Kat, Dojangles, Graham Robertson, James Gallagher, Jeff Davis, Orange Vanilla Coke, Patrick Pister, TCU's personal pilot, Andy, Ryan Carroll, Baseweight, Vinthos, Yeetus Deletus, Jonas Walter, Nathan Robinson, Chelxies, and of course, Trevstead. You are the elite. Thank you as well to our indentured servants, producer-editor Ben Webster, Minecraft mogul Laterman, Discord kitten wrangler Conrad, and producer emeritus Dan Yoshua. Thanks to Baseweight for use of Created in the Unknown for the opening theme. Thanks to Electro Voice for giving us mics to sound good on top of it. And a special thanks to Main Gear for powering all of our PC endeavors. The Create Unknown is an Unknown Media production in partnership with Studio 71.